students, welcome back to Nandini's classes. So today we are going to do a very important chapter in your English grammar, that is the active and passive voice. So let us get started. Students, please focus in today's class. And if you have a notebook with you, please note it down because we are going to deal with all the rules of active and passive, which is very important to write proper English. Okay, so let's get started. So today we are going to learn actually and what is an active voice and what is a passive voice. So you should not get confused regarding this. So you should know, you have to identify a sentence by looking at it, whether it is in the active voice or in the passive voice. So students, before we start, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to it and press on the bell icon for any new videos that I upload. Now, let us start with active and passive. Now, you should know what is a active voice. Okay. Now, to know what is an active voice, you have to look into the sentences. When the verb shows that the person or thing denoted by the subject does something, it is in the active voice. When the subject is the doer of the action, we call that the sentence is in the active voice. For example, Rama helps Hari. Here the subject Rama is the doer of the action. So it is in the active voice. Remember, when the subject does the work, it is said to be in the active. Now you must be wondering, what is the passive voice then? The passive voice is just the opposite of the active, where the subject is not the doer of the action. The subject is the receiver of the action. We call the verb is in the passive. See, Hari is helped by Rama. Here Hari is not the doer of the action. So we call the sentences in the passive. So remember, when a sentence is in the active, the subject is doer of the action. When the subject is not doing the work, is the receiving the work, it is called to be in the passive. Let us look into some examples. Sita loves Savitri. The passive will be Savitri is loved by Sita.
The mason is building the wall. The wall is being built by the mason.
The peon opened the gate. The gate was opened by the peon. Some boys were helping the wounded man. The wounded man was being helped by some boys. Who did this? By whom was this done? Students, you should always keep it in mind when we change from active to passive. When we change the verb from active to passive, the object of the transitive verb in the active becomes the subject of the verb in the passive. Is it clear? So in simple language, what is the subject in the active voice? The subject becomes the object in the passive voice. Okay? So, since it is so, therefore, we can only change the transitive verbs. Only the transitive verb has got an object, and therefore transitive verb could be only changed into the passive because intransitive verb has no object. Because intransitive verb by itself is complete and therefore the verbs needs no object. So that is why intransitive verb cannot be changed to the passive. So students, let us have a look into some transitive and intransitive verbs. So examples of transitive verb. The boy kicks the ball. Here the verb kicks passes over to the object ball. So it is transitive. Now let us look into some intransitive sentences. The baby sleeps. Here the verb sleeps doesn't pass on to any object and therefore it is intransitive. He ran a long distance. Here also there is no object in the sentence. So it is also intransitive. Another example. The sun shines brightly. Here the verb shines do not have any object and therefore it is intransitive and cannot be used in the passive. In this class we will go through only with the rules of present tenses. I mean all the present tenses. That is simple present, present continuous, present perfect and present perfect continuous. That means we are dealing with all the present tenses and with the rules how to change present tenses to the passive. So first of all, let us have a look into simple present tenses when we change from active to passive. So, the rules for simple present tense is for positive simple present tenses, we use the formula subject plus main verb, that is verb 1, the first form of the verb plus object. Subject plus main verb, that is verb 1 plus object. So when we change it, what should we do? First will be the object. Object plus auxiliary verb is, am, are plus past participle, that is third form of the verb V3 plus by plus subject. For example, they deliver the packages. The packages are delivered by them. Now, more examples. They make cookies here. Cookies are made here. By them is optional. You may write or you may not. Subject can be optional too. The teachers help the new student. The new student is helped by the teachers. Now, for negative simple present tense active voice, the rules are, okay, subject plus negative adverb plus the main verb, that is verb 1 plus object. Now when we change it, what do? Object plus auxiliary verb plus negative adverb plus past participle, that is third form of the verb, plus by plus subject. For example, Ben doesn't walk the dog. The dog isn't walked by Ben. Some more examples are on the screen for your better understanding. Now, for interrogative simple present active voice. Now, the formula is auxiliary verb plus subject plus main verb, that is verb 1 plus object. Now, when we change it, we put auxiliary verb first plus object plus past participle, that is third form of the verb, plus by plus subject, which is optional. Examples. Does Ben walk the dog? Now when we change it, we write, is the dog walked by Ben? How do they make the cookies? How are cookies made? By them is optional. Do you clean the house? Is the house cleaned? By you is again optional. Which newspaper do you read? Which newspaper is read by you?
Now, students, please keep this in mind. When you change interrogative sentences into the passive for simple present tense, then the sentences begins with is or are. Now another very important thing, student, please note it down that when the active sentences begin with a question word, for example, when, where, which, why, etc., the passive sentences will also begin with a question word. Okay? Now, when the active sentence begins with who or whose, the passive will begin with by whom or by whose. When the active sentence begins with whom, the passive sentence will begin with who. So kindly note, this is a very important rule for you when you change interrogative sentences from active to passive.
Now we come to present continuous tenses. So when we change an active present continuous tense to the passive, what are the rules that follows? So when we change active to passive, in the active, the rule is subject plus auxiliary verb is, am, are, plus main verb plus ing plus the object. Now when we change it, it is object plus am, is, are plus being plus past participle, that is third form of the verb, plus by plus subject. So let us see some examples. Radha is teaching maths at high school. Maths is being taught by Radha at high school. They are making a show about him. A show about him is being made, and by them is optional. Okay, now students, for negative present continuous sentences, how you change negative present continuous from active to passive. So, the formula is subject plus is MR plus not plus the main verb, that is verb 1, plus ing plus object. Okay. Now when we change it, it will be object plus M is R plus not plus being plus past participle third form of the verb plus by plus the subject. So let us look into some example. The mechanic is not repairing the car. The mechanic is not repairing the car. The car is not being repaired by the mechanic. The gardener is not watering the plants. The plants are not being watered. The plants are not being watered by the gardener. So we move on to the structure for interrogative sentences in the present continuous tense. Now, how to change interrogative sentences from the active to the passive in the present continuous tense. Now, the formula is MR plus subject plus main verb plus ing plus the object. Okay. Now when we change it again, auxiliary verb plus object plus being plus past participle, that is third form of the verb, plus by plus subject. Let us look into some examples. Are you teaching him? So it will be, is he being taught by you? Okay. So this is a clear example to show that how we change, interrogative sentences into the passive voice. Why are they cancelling us? Why are we being cancelled by them? Another example. Why are they throwing her out of the game? Why is she being thrown out of the game by them? What are they telling us? What are we being told by them? Is he abusing me? Am I being abused by him? Is the designer designing the dress? Is the dress being designed by the designer? Now we move on to present perfect tense. Okay, now the rules for present perfect tense to change from active to passive. So in active, we have the rule, the structure is like that. Subject plus has or have plus third form of the verb, that is V3, plus object. So when we change it is the object plus have or has plus been plus past participle, that is third form of the verb, plus by plus the subject. Now let us look into some example on the screen. I have written an amazing book. An amazing book has been written by me. Jim has helped me a ton. I have been helped a ton by Jim. Most of the people have tried sushi. Now, sushi has been tried by most of the people. Nobody has done this before. This has never been done before by anyone. Okay, now we come to the negative, negative present perfect tense in the active, and how to change it into the passive. Now, the structure is subject plus has or have plus not plus past participle, that is a third form of the verb, plus object. So, when we change it, it is the object plus have or has plus not plus been plus third form of the verb plus by plus the subject. Okay, now let us look into some examples on the screen. I have not prepared pizza yet. Pizza has not been prepared yet by me. I have not made the dish. The dish has not been made by me. He has not played football. Football has not been played by him. They have not enjoyed the picnic. The picnic has not been enjoyed by them. India has not lost the match yet. The match has not been lost yet by India. The structure formula for present perfect tense in the interrogative sentence. How to change an interrogative sentence in the present perfect to the passive. Now, the formula is have or has plus subject plus third form of the verb plus the object. Okay. Now, when we change it, it is has or have plus object plus been plus past participle, that is third form of the verb plus by plus the subject. Now, let us look into some examples on the screen. Have you eaten the pizza? Has the pizza been eaten by you? Have they started the game yet? Has the game been started yet by them? And by them here is optional. Have you made the plan? Has the plan been made by you? Here also it is optional whether you write by you or not. Has Jyoti invited you to the party? Have you been invited to the party by Jyoti? Why have you told a lie? Why has a lie been told by you? Who has torn my book? By whom has my book been torn?
Students, you should keep in mind when we use subject in the passive form. Now, passive with the subject. We use this structure formula with the preposition by when the subject is of some significance or holds importance. That is, when the subject is of a significance or the name of a person, organization, or an event, then we cannot skip the subject. We have to include the subject in the passive. For example, the police arrested Hari. So in the passive form we write Hari was arrested by the police. Here the subject police is the name of an organization, so we cannot exclude it. Now, passive without a subject, that is when we use the passive form of a sentence without a subject. So in here we use the formula, that is when the subject is not of any such significance or is unknown or obvious, we might opt to exclude it in the passive. That is, we do not use the subject in the passive. For example, I have prepared sandwiches for everyone. So when I use it in the passive voice, I write sandwiches have been prepared for everyone, and by me is understood.
Now, students, we come to the last part of your present tenses, that is present perfect continuous tense. Present perfect continuous tense means the work which has started and is still continuing. Okay. Now here you see what is the structure of this is subject plus haver, has, plus been, plus main verb, plus ing, plus object. Okay, that means he has been baking the cake for the last 2 hours. Remember, this present perfect continuous tense cannot be changed into the passive, as they make little sense or no sense at all. So it doesn't use present perfect tense in the passive. It can only be used in the active, to express the continuous action of the present time. The continuous action of the present time it shows, and therefore it cannot be used in the passive voice. So students, that brings us to the end of all the structures of the present tenses. That is simple present, present continuous, present perfect, and present perfect continuous. Stay tuned for the next video of this series, which will be on all the past tenses. And thereafter, we will deal with all the future tenses. So that's all for today. I hope you liked the video, and if you have liked the video, do not forget to click on the like button, and if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to it, and please share it among your friends, so that they will also be enlightened by this video. Thank you.